Welcome to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where real people share timeless ideas. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and in every episode we dive into the philosophies, quotes, points, and life lessons that shape how we live, think, and grow. No matter where you are in life, this show is here to remind you wisdom is everywhere, and it's always relatable most of the times.
Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Blake Lefkoe, and I help people get unstuck, help people live a life aligned with their passions and values, and remember who they were before the world told them who they should be.
Perfect. I love that intro. Wow. Thank you for being on the podcast, Blake.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What's the quote you want to share with me today?
Life doesn't have to look any certain way. We always think that
What's the
things have
context
to.
behind this quote?
We're brought up and people told us how we should be and what our lives should look like. And we think that our life should look a certain way. We should make a certain amount of money and drive a certain kind of car, and it doesn't have to. Our lives can look like anything. We can have relationships that look like anything. We can live a life that works for us. We don't have to work 40 hours a week and drive fancy cars. Like what is it that's important to you? How do you want your life to look? How do you want your relationships to be? How do you want to show up in the world? And that life doesn't have to look any certain way. It can really look like whatever you want it to. You just have to get rid of the things keeping you stuck. And that's what I do.
Wow. Before we talk about the things that keep people stuck, right? I just want to. I'm curious. For most persons, for most entrepreneurs, for most business persons, for most whether it's business professions, um, for most of them, people have a problem. They solve their problem, and then they say, "Whoa, I had this problem. I solved it. I should help others who have this problem solve the problem too." And that's how most businesses start. So I'm curious. Before you started helping people get unstuck, was there a time where you were stuck yourself?
Yeah. For sure. I was So I grew up the process that I do that helps people eliminate the beliefs that keep them stuck. My dad created it when I was a young child, and both my parents were in the personal growth industry. And that's what they did. They helped people. My dad wanted to change the world. They went into businesses, they worked with private clients, and they helped people create this profound change in their lives. And because I grew up with that and that's what I was surrounded by and that's what we talked about at the dinner table and that was everything, I rebelled against it. And I was like, well, I'm not interested in personal growth and I don't want to look at my stuff. I just want to travel and party and meet boys and see the world and learn to surf and learn to skydive. And so I lived this amazing life, but because I never looked at my stuff and never worked on it, the traveling and the drinking and the partying became really unsustainable and unfulfilling. And I woke up one day in my late 30s. I was a single mom. I was an alcoholic bartender. I was getting out of a ridiculous relationship that I had been telling myself I was going to leave for a very long time and didn't. And I just woke up and I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is so unfulfilling and this is so unsustainable. And it had been Halloween and I just had been on a bender all weekend. I had been bartending and partying, and Halloween night, I took my son and all his friends. We went trick or treating, and I woke up in the morning and I didn't even remember half the night. And I was like, this isn't how I want to show up for my kid. Like, he deserves so much better and I deserve so much better. And like, I can't do this anymore. And so I was very fortunate that I had this tool at my disposal and I found my way back to the process. And I started working on myself and I started eliminating beliefs and I got sober. And after 3 decades, I got out of the restaurant industry and I got trained in doing this process that is so fulfilling, that is so meaningful, that I love so much. And it brings me so much passion and joy to be able to help people get unstuck and create this incredible freedom in their lives. And I created my own business, and I got less defensive, and I got more patient, and I became a better mother, and I completely changed my friend group, and I changed the kinds of relationships that I had, and I made space for an incredible partner to come into my life. And everything shifted, everything changed. And because I experienced that and I went through it, I know that it's possible. And now I help other people create that change and bring those freedoms to their life.
Wow. I feel like I just listened to Batwoman origin story. Yeah. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my honor. It's my privilege.
Yeah.
I've really learned after so many years of just not understanding balance, like just not even being able to wrap my brain around the concept. I now have a life that is just so balanced. Like I live in Hawaii and I love the ocean and I do all these crazy ocean sports. And I have so much time to do that. And I create my own schedule so I can be there for my son, to drive him to baseball, to go to all his games and all his practices and be there when he needs me, and have time with him and have so much time with my partner, and just to really, it's not even just like a work-life balance. It's like an everything balance. It's like I have so much time to do the things I love doing and so much time to spend with the people that I love spending time with.
Yeah.
And that has been really one of the most amazing things I've gotten out of doing this work.
Yeah. Earlier, on, you talked about helping people get unstuck. Before we even talk about why people get stuck in the first place, there is a scenario that it's running through my mind, and I would love to explain to you, and then you tell me what they should do in such scenario. A lot of persons, if growing up all their life, they've been stuck, right? And so being stuck is the new normal, and so they do not know what it feels like, what it looks like to be unstuck now.
Mhm.
And so when you talk about stock and stock on stock, you don't even know. There are a different set of people that when you mention stock, like, yeah, I am stock, I need to be on stock. Those persons, they know they have a problem. For the other persons who the problem has become a way of life, it doesn't look like a problem. It's like, oh, that is how it is. Life is
Mhm.
like, and then you tell, like, oh, that's how life is. Like, that's how it is. Life is not supposed to be like this. And so it's hard for them to even try to look for a way to be unstuck in the first place when they don't even know that they're stuck.
So anyone that is ready to change can change. So yes, you have to be ready, and to be ready, you have to know that it's possible. So for people that don't know that it's possible, that's tricky, right? Like if I could sit down and talk to them and explain to them, and I think that's one of the things that I love about the work I do, is that you don't just have to tell people, like they see it. They see people living their lives in this way and they go, "Wait, I want that. I want that kind of freedom," whatever that looks like, right? Like it doesn't have, and like I said, it doesn't have to be this way. People think this is just how life is. You know, we work a job that we hate. We're in relationship, relationships are hard and work sucks, and I have to do this and I have to do that. And so it's getting people to realize, no, you don't. Your life doesn't have to look like anything, and the premise of my work is eliminating beliefs. So we form these beliefs in childhood, and they are what create the patterns. They perpetuate the patterns. So when you grow up in abuse and you create beliefs like I'm not worthy and I'm not deserving and I'm not lovable and life is hard and conflict is dangerous, that's what you're going to keep creating. Not consciously, it's not your fault. But when you have those beliefs, that's what's going to keep showing up for you. So to realize and go, wait, just because that happened, just because I experienced this trauma, it doesn't mean I need to stay stuck in these patterns, right? And all it takes is just wanting more, just wanting to be free of anxiety, free negative self-talk, fear, procrastination, people pleasing, depression, phobias, alcoholism. Like it doesn't matter what it is. It's all created by our beliefs. Our beliefs determine our lives. They determine our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors. And by getting rid of those beliefs that are no longer serving you, everything can shift. Everything changes. It's so powerful. And so for the people that don't know that it can be any other way, they just have to have something catch their eye where they're like, oh, It doesn't have to be this way. It can be different.
Yeah. Okay. I guess a follow-up question to rephrase would be, from your own story, there were signs to tell that you were stuck, and when those signs became painful enough, you said enough is enough. Something has to change. So, what are some
Yeah.
of the signs one will look for to say, okay, I need to change. I need to get unstuck. This is not the way things ought to be.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Well, it's just when life becomes so painful that it's, people think that change is so painful, right? They have this idea, change is hard, change is scary, change is painful. So I'm going to keep living this way. And when the way they are living becomes so much more painful than the idea of change, then they're open to changing.
Yeah.
It's like when you're fed up and you're just like, I just can't take it anymore. Like what's the thing that has people create change, that has people leave abusive relationships or quit smoking cigarettes or quit
Yeah.
drinking or quit their job or leave that toxic relationship, right? We have these breaking points where we go, oh my God, I just can't take it anymore. It's enough. And the thing that's amazing about this work is that you get to the root of the problem. So there's a lot of coping mechanisms that people learn, right? There's a lot of tools and tricks that people, okay, I have to remember this and I have to do this thing and I have to shift my perspective, or I have to do these affirmations, or I have to remember to be grateful. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but you have to keep doing them. This work is different. When you get rid of a belief, you no longer have those thoughts, right? If you believe you're attractive, you don't wake up in the morning saying affirmations, I'm pretty. You don't have stickers on your fridge and your mirror saying I'm pretty. It's redundant, right? You don't because you already think you are. So if you get rid of the belief, I'm not good enough, you don't have to walk around convincing yourself that you're good enough. And it's exhausting, right? We're always trying to talk ourselves out of our beliefs and logic our way out and go, no, I know that's not true because this and that. But on some level, it still feels true and it runs the show, right? When we have these beliefs, it's like we're wearing. So the most common belief I work on with people is I'm not good enough. It's at the root of almost any pattern: behavioral, emotional, procrastination, doubt, anxiety, all of it, right? And so when people have this belief, it's like you're wearing these I'm not good enough glasses. And that's how you see the world. That's what shows up. That's what you notice. You get broken up with and you go, oh, see, it's because I'm not good enough. And you don't get the job and you go, oh, see, it's because I'm not good enough. And you don't get invited to the party and you go, oh, see, it's because I'm not good enough, right? And when you eliminate that belief, all of a sudden you don't get the job and you go, maybe there's a better job out there for me. Maybe that company is going to close next month and I just got saved so much time and energy. Maybe I didn't get invited to that party because my friend knows I hate parties where everyone is drinking and she knows I'm not going to want to be there. So she cares about me. And that's why she didn't invite me, not because I'm right. So like how you start to see everything shifts.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because you stop spending the energy trying to talk yourself into and out of things. They're just gone.
Yeah. You answered the question, and thank you so much for the um, perfect example you just gave to drive home the point. Someone listening right now who is stuck and saying, yeah, I'm stuck. I need to take a change. I need to do something, right? What's one simple step, not plenty steps, one simple step they can take today, right? Of course, getting unstuck, it's a change that is, gradual, involves a lot of things that needs to be done. But what's one simple step they can take to start moving towards being unstuck?
Call me. I'll have a
Eh,
30-minute consultation for anybody. And I can tell you personally, where are you stuck? How are you stuck? This is how I can help. If it doesn't seem like a good fit, great. Here's a tool, here's something, right? Here's something that you can use to take on your way. But getting to the source of the problem and getting rid of that, right? How many people do you know that stop drinking, right? They're like, I want to stop, and they stop. And then every day they just battle, oh God, I just want to drink, I just want to drink, I just want to drink. And then their life becomes about not drinking, right? They're going to AA meetings all the time and they're putting all that energy into that. And then they end up starting to drink again because they never got to what was keeping them drinking in the first place, right? You see people diets and Weight Watchers and going to the gym and this thing and that thing, and they lose the weight and then they put it back on because they have emotional eating issues and they never dealt with the emotional eating issues. So it's like you can start to get yourself out of that pattern, but so often you end up back in that same place because the things driving that pattern are still there. And if you can get rid of those, then the pattern just goes away all by itself, like completely organically. It just fades. If you procrastinate and you have the beliefs, nothing I do is good enough and mistakes and failures are bad. And if I make a mistake, I'll be rejected and I'm not good enough. And right, like, how likely are you to sit down and do that thing you want to do? If you have those beliefs, they're going to keep you stuck. You're going to procrastinate and you might get it done. You might be able to push through, right? But again, it's exhausting. And if you get rid of those beliefs, there's nothing stopping you from doing that anymore. You get rid of your fear of failure. You get rid of the fear of rejection. You get rid of the idea that you're not capable or you're not good enough or you're less than or anything. And then it's like, cool, well, let's just try it and see what happens, right? Perfectionists, people pleasing, all these
Yeah.
things. You know, you give yourself the freedom to try, to be different, to be authentic, to put yourself first. You know, like some people don't even know what they want. They have so many beliefs in their way. So it's like, cool, well, let's get rid of those. And then you can see what you want and what's in the way of you living a life that you want. Get rid of all that stuff. You start moving towards that life.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Blake. You mentioned over the course of the conversation that that if someone is stuck and really, really wants to get unstuck, and they should call you. And so just to tie that in, where can people learn more about you and connect with you?
Yeah. So my website is just blakelefkoe.com.
Can
There's
you
a little
spell it
more
out?
information there. BLAKELEF as in Frank, KOE. And my email is the same, blakelefkoe@gmail, blakelefkoe.com. There's a link. You can just book a free 20-minute consultation. If that feels too big and overwhelming and scary, shoot me an email. We can just correspond over email for a bit. But I have a sliding scale for people that can't afford me. Like, I love doing this work. And I feel like this is something that's helping to change the world and bring more light to people and inspire people because people see my clients and how they shift and they change and they grow and their energy changes and they're vibrating at a different frequency and they're attracting different things, right? They're showing up so differently and people go, "What did you do? I want that." Right? And so it
Yeah.
spreads. It's like that question you asked before when people don't even realize they're stuck. When you see someone get unstuck and you realize it's possible, you see that energy. You're like, "Oh my God, that authenticity. Like, I want that freedom."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it spreads and it just brings so much light and happiness and peace to the world. Um, I really want to make myself available to people and make this work available and work with people. Just, I don't want it to feel stressful to see me. I want it to be exciting. And unlike a lot of other therapies, you don't just keep coming back. Like my clients graduate. There's no set amount of sessions or time. It's different for everybody, but people get to a point where they're like, I got what I came for and more, and I'm ready to go live my life. And I love my clients dearly and we stay in touch and they send me emails and updates about their new jobs and their new relationships and all the amazing things in their lives. And if something comes up and they get stuck, they come back and have a session. And it's really like a curative process, which a lot of people don't think is possible. But this change it's permanent and it's profound, and you don't need to keep doing anything. You don't
yeah.
need to keep about your problems or reliving them. Like you get rid of the beliefs that were caused at the time of your traumas, because it's not our traumas that shape who we are. It's the beliefs we create when they're happening.
Let us sink in. Mm. Wow.
People think, oh, I went through this and now I'm like this. You're like, no, you went through this, you created these beliefs, and now those beliefs are having you feel those things, think those things, behave those ways.
Yeah.
But if you can get rid of those, then there's no reason to be stuck in those patterns anymore. And it doesn't mean that what happened to you wasn't atrocious. It doesn't mean that you're forgiving anyone. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It doesn't mean, right? It's just, I had a client once and she had the belief I'm a victim. And everything was happening to her, right? Everything that happened, it happened to her. And this person this, and this person that. And she went into the store and the woman didn't smile at her. And and when we eliminated that belief, and she had this moment where she goes, oh my God, I'm not a victim. I was victimized, but that
Ooh.
doesn't make me a victim, right? And all of a sudden she came in and she was like, I smiled at that woman at that Mexican place that I eat at every day by my work. And she smiled back, and now we're friends. And I thought she hated me and she was mean to me and she was just intimidated by me. All it took was a smile and a hello, and she totally changed. So she kept putting this energy out and people responded to it. And again, it's not intentional. Realize she was doing it. She wasn't doing anything wrong. But when you're able to take those glasses off and see things differently, right? You attract different things. When I had the beliefs I had, I attracted alcoholic men who weren't interested in commitment or weren't interested in being a father. And I right, like I had a child. And when I eliminated those beliefs, I created space for a man to show up who was amazing, who was sober and committed and supportive and like the most amazing person I've ever met, that shows up for me and my kid every day in every way I didn't even know it was possible. And I made space for that to happen by getting rid of the beliefs that were keeping that at bay, that keeping those other people coming, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Blake. Once again, people can contact you at blakelefkoe.com. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
I'll put a
Yeah.
link in the description and show notes so people can
Yeah.
just click directly and go to the site. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight to chat with you. I'm
Thank
glad we
you
could
so
make this
much.
work.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.